What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. Today, I am going to be discussing here why NASCAR needs to shorten these races for the future of the sport. Let's just jump straight into it. So today, I watched the Atlanta race, and I have to say that while the racing was not terrible today, what I was thinking was the race was way too long. And this comes into my discussion for today. In my honest opinion, these NASCAR races need to start getting shortened. There is no reason, in my opinion, that Atlanta, Texas, Auto Club, Kentucky, I don't think any of those races should be over 350 miles long. I am not including the Brickyard 400, the Southern 500, the Coca-Cola 600, and the Daytona 500. Those are not included. Those are crown jewel events. Those don't get changed. Also, I don't think restrictor plate races get changed. I don't think the short track races need to get changed because you always have that adrenaline and you have that aggressiveness in this race. The reason I think that these races do need to be shortened is because when they're this long of a race, you run into this problem where these races get spread out. The shorter these races are, the better the racing is going to be. Here's a prime example. We've had two midweek races at Charlotte and Darlington International Raceway. The first Darlington race, the one that was 400 miles, was not a terrible race. It was 400 miles though. But the second race at Darlington, which was about 228, was about 300 miles, was a lot better. There was a lot more aggression. You saw a lot more passing, and you saw guys getting up on the wheel. Of course, you had rain in the forecast for that race, but you had a lot more aggression in that race. In this Coca-Cola 600, the race for the second, the Alice Green Performance 500, which was the second race, the Coke 600 was horrible. It was because it was dragged on, and you also had the outside lane was not working very well. The second race was half the distance, which is about 2.5 to 3 hours long, and that race was way, way better. While not perfect, that race was way, way better. Proved to me that the drivers are going to be a lot better with shorter races than longer races. There is no reason that we should be sitting on a couch and watching races for 4 hours. In my opinion, a race should last no longer than 3 hours. They need to start cutting this time down to under 3 hours, except the Crown Jewel race and the races that I mentioned. Because look at all these other sports. The MLB has lost some ratings. They're trying to cut theirs down to under 3 hours. The NBA only goes for about 2.5 hours. I don't know about the NHL, but other sports in general, they're starting to cut down, including the F1 and IndyCar. F1 and IndyCar's races do not usually tend to go over 2 to 2.5 hours. F1's only go to 2 hours. IndyCar's only goes to about 2.5 hours. And in my honest opinion, NASCAR needs to start going in that same direction. Ratings, in my opinion, will also be a lot better because fans are not going to turn off the TV as much if you have these races shortened. Especially if, like I said, if you cut these races down to 350 miles, you're going to have a lot of that aggression that's going to pick up for the racers, and the racing is going to be a lot of fun. Of course, on short tracks, the racing's always going to be good, and the restrictor plates, unless a single file at the top line, the racing's always going to be good at those races. In my opinion, you just got to cut these races. There's so many different things, different types of entertainment. Like I mentioned, you got all these other sports you can watch. Seeing racing, how more people go to other racing sports because there's not much time that they have on the race, like 2 to 2.5 hours. NASCAR, in my opinion, the races are way too long. There's no reason that we need to have a 4-hour race. There's no excuse for that. We're in 2020. Now, back in the day, I don't know if I mentioned this, back in the day, I used to enjoy longer races. I used to be against people who wanted shorter races because you had that attrition level. You could have engines possibly blow up in the race. You had tires go. You could have problems with your oil tanks, your coolers, everything inside your cars. You could have a lot of those problems creep up inside the cars. Now, because engineering has gotten so good, you're not seeing a lot of engine troubles. It's very rare to see an engine let go. And in endurance races, endurance is not as important. More and more people have been on this movement of shorter races because of the attention spans of so many people. And yes, I don't care how long, well, I kind of care about shorter races now because I think shorter races, in my opinion, is just going to be better for people and new fans. If fans see that these races are shorter, like 2 hours long, they're going to probably watch the whole thing because they're not wasting their whole afternoon, because these start times are also ridiculous. 2:30, 3 o'clock. I understand why for the rating standpoints, but the ratings are going to go up, and they're actually going to stay pretty far up if you go to these shorter races, because you have all these, like I said, these other entertainment factors, also like Twitch TV, Netflix, and we get all this technology and stuff. We get everything handed to us really quick. Our attention spans in society, not just NASCAR itself, have gone down very rapidly for everyone. Not just me, but a lot of people's attention spans have gone down. And over the last few weeks, I've been thinking about this, and like I said, the Crown Jewel races, we don't change those. But I think for a lot of these races, we got to cut them down. There's too many of these races that are way too long. They just need to be cut, because people are going to eventually leave the sport eventually if these don't get cut down. Now, NASCAR probably in the future is probably going to cut these down for the future. I'm not saying that you do this for the 2020 season. I think for 2020, you keep it kind of the way it is right now, because you can't do much procedures. We've already done a lot of changes for 2020 because of the COVID-19 virus, and we have these midweek races as kind of an example. But I'm just, for the future, like 2021 and beyond, for the future NASCAR schedules, you're going to have to kind of start reducing some of these races' lengths. I mean, there's a lot of drivers who are in favor of this, like Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski. A lot of other drivers have been in support of shorter races because they don't want to be at the track all dang day. I don't think these crews want to always be there every single day, unless you're love for the sport. Now, of course, some fans are not going to care if you reduce the race or not, and that's their opinion. But personally, in my honest opinion, shortening these races to under that 3-hour window, except for the Crown Jewel races, is really going to be a lot better for the sport long term. Ratings are going to be up. And again, under 350 miles, except for the Crown Jewels, I think that is a lot better for the sport as well, because fans are just sick and tired of sitting down and cash for us. I mean, a lot of us don't have the time to watch 4-hour races. When I was younger, I had time to watch races, but a lot of us are working jobs, going to college and stuff, doing a lot of other side gigs on the outside of racing, and they're not just watching racing. They're doing a lot of other projects, and they could not spend their whole afternoon. They could go do something with their families. They can hang out with their friends outside and not just be stuck in their houses just watching this race all the time. Especially when a race is really, really long and it turns out to be really, really boring. It is not good for the casual fan who's watching the sport, because that casual fan who might just be watching the first race, if they see a really bad race like that Texas IndyCar race, don't get me started on that Texas IndyCar race. If fans are just watching the lengths of these races and are seeing that it's just not good, they're not going to come back and watch it, and they're maybe long-term come back, but at that moment, they're not going to come back until these races are shortened. What I've noticed is at the top of these races, they tend to get a lot of fans, but in the middle portions of these races, you're seeing a lot more fans tune out and not come back till the end. If you can condense that and cut a lot of that middle out, have the beginning and end kind of put together, you can keep those fans on. Of course, rain delays could become a problem, and you could be there for 4 or 5 hours with the rain delays. And also, that's another thing. If rain does come to factor, you have less laps you have to get to, so you might be able to get those races done in time and be able to get it done that night or in the daytime. Now, of course, a lot of these races will be more likely in the evening times, but in my opinion, I just think at this point, we got to cut these races and make them a lot shorter than they currently are. They are way too long. After watching Atlanta, I just said enough is enough. It's time to start cutting these races. There's a lot of people kind of joining that movement, and I think it's time at this point that we go ahead and cut these races in pretty good. I'm not saying cut in half, but cut them under 400 miles. They're way too long, in my honest opinion. So, anyway, that is going to be it for this video. So, anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Tomorrow I will be doing my predictions video for the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500 at Martinsville. So stick around and watch that in tomorrow's video. Follow me on all my social medias, links in the description below that, which is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and comment your thoughts on this video. Do you think that shorter races are better in the long term, or do you think the NASCAR should keep it the way it is long term? Let me know in the comments below. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.